No, it was like the fact that you, Chief, when you're done with your reading glasses, you hold them in your hand like a gentleman instead of some of those guys that have the thing sticking up there in their forehead. Oh, he just put them down. Darn it. No, I don't like the look either. See, another appropriate use for them, yeah. You know what I hate worse, though? Is the guys that put their sunglasses on backwards, like they have eyes in the back of their head. Makes me nervous. No, did you see those guys that wear their sunglasses backwards when they're not wearing them, and they have them like...
They put them on his forehead.
Well, I was just, that's how it got started on this conversation.
I don't know how they keep them that well. No
Yeah.
offense, but they'd slide.
On his or mine?
Well, if you had them in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about
I thought
that.
you were implying that some of us don't have hair to soak up any oils that might be coming from our scalp.
Follically challenged, I believe it's called.
You know what they say? God only made a few perfect heads, and the rest he covered with hair. Judge James P. O'Malley gave me that line years ago.
Pat Mike Dan.
Pardon?
Pat Mike Dan.
Sure, whatever you want. I've met him. He's a
Oh, I get to go
friend
first
of
now
a friend of
because
mine. I'm
of
trying to
this
think
guy.
who. You know him? Yeah, he knows him. Yeah, I've met him once, but yeah, he knows him. Yeah, I knew there was someone who did that care.
Nice guy.
Who did that care. Not slated.
For that, I
I know.
brought you a present.
It's not slated. It's been running a couple times. Came close last year.
Hola.
Oh,
Have you ever had them?
where are they? Is it a lozenge or something?
Yeah, it's like a honey lozenge.
Yeah, I didn't
But
look
they
at it.
really,
I got it. Nice guy.
dude, I have this trouble with their glass now.
Yeah, we do random testing.
Pardon me?
We do random testing.
Cubs fan?
Ricola.
I don't know what you're saying.
Fair trial. He said, forget what else he said.
Can we give you
I'm this,
straws?
but if you're that, I give you a
Long
fair trial.
straws?
I'm a
That
Bears
was-
fan. If you're a Packers fan, I'll make sure the next judge you go in front of will give you a fair trial.
Oh,
Who said that? I
you
forgot.
know
I
what
was there.
straw last night?
Not qualified.
You did. Sundays, I forgot, are also Gibbon sticks.
I just dropped in my lap for tomorrow morning. I'm like, fuck.
I got you prepped for it, right?
No.
Oh, really needs
What? No. Hey, Tim, since I'm on public safety now, I get to go first.
You guys ready?
Sure.
You guys ready?
You do.
I forgot.
Double seniority.
Is it in a position or at the village?
Are you guys ready?
Is it in position or is it at the village? Because I got 27.
Well, if you're asking the chief,
But he's,
if you're asking the
chief can do
chief,
whatever he
no,
wants.
if you're asking the chief, it's on Earth. It's seniority, yeah. Well, I'm not talking about age, importance, you know.
You need to sit quietly over there. What's that?
It's Joe's kissing something.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready, Pat?
Hey,
Trustee
have
Guerra?
fun.
Trustee Calandrello?
Here.
Trustee Carroll?
Here.
Public safety, approval of minutes?
Madam Chair,
Trustee Caldwell.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Public Safety Committee of February the 5th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance amending Title 8, Chapter 6 of the Orland Park Village Code.
Madam Chairman, this is an amendment to Title 8, Chapter 6 to create the municipal ordinance violation of reckless conduct, which is also in the Illinois Combined Statutes in both a misdemeanor and a felony. But this is another attempt to allow us, on the most minor cases, to charge it as a ordinance violation rather than arrest, fingerprinting, and putting someone through the system when it's a very minor type of incident. So we've been doing this the last year or so, adopting some ordinance allows us to do this, and we give a person a chance rather than giving a permanent police type record.
Bookkeeping with a little leniency, kind of nice. Any questions from well, there's no audience. Any questions from the committee?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say I agree that giving the police the discretion to choose whether to administratively adjudicate an offense and under the most amount of fact circumstances, the better, because that kind of case, if it were brought in the circuit court, would typically be non-suited or nollied anyway, and so giving us the opportunity to adjudicate it here, where we can maybe get some contact with the person and convince them to properly govern their behavior in the future is a good thing.
Trustee Calendro.
I concur.
Thank you. No other questions from the audience?
Madam Chair?
Trustee Carroll.
I move to recommend to the village board to pass an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Title 8, Chapter 6, the Orland Park Village Code regarding reckless conduct.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6 Panasonic Arbitrator MK3 HD in-car video systems.
Madam Chairman, it's requested to purchase 6 in-car video systems to replace the ones that are worn out. This is a sole source bid, but we have a Panasonic arbitrator system, and we can't go out and buy any other products. It's like having a Ford, we have to buy Ford parts for it. So it's 6 units to replace 1 units.
And through the state purchasing program, so we're getting the best price. Any questions from anyone in the audience, from the committee? Chair will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair,
Trustee Calendro.
I move to recommend to the village board to approve the purchase of 6 Panasonic, oh my God, I'm having a tough day today already.
Yeah.
Arbitrator video systems with licensing and warranty agreements through the state of Illinois joint purchasing contract from CDS Office Technologies, 1271 Hamilton Parkway, Itasca, Illinois, 60143 at a cost not to exceed $33,528.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Transfer of ownership of police dog.
Madam Chair?
Trustee Carroll.
I move to recommend to the village board to pass an ordinance entitled, ordinance authorizing the transfer of ownership of police dog.
Second.
Uh,
Any questions regarding our retiring police dog? Anything you want to add, Tim?
9 years old, and has had other searches along the way, including last week, a search warrant for a weekend property or on drugs. And so we've been pretty darn start with dogs, but injuries to gas are growing cold. For a few months, we'll be without a canine, but we've always been generous with ours to other departments that will reciprocated and Canterbury now, Maverick will be with us in August.
August or September. When Maverick comes home, can we bring Maverick up here and introduce him to? Terrific. Okay, all in favor?
Hey.
Aye.
Well, we'll know you never asked for that when it was a German Shepherd or a Malinois. Now there's a nice, cute little hound you want to come to the board meetings.
This one can fly.
Exactly, typewriter biter. Nice to take the sleeve with that dog.
With those ears, whoo.
Finance Committee approval of minutes.
Looking for a motion?
So moved.
So, you said Finance Committee, John?
Finance Committee.
I thought we're doing
sorry.
that.
Oh, wrong one, okay. Sorry.
sorry.
Still moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Who made the motion?
Aye.
I did.
Trustee Gear made the motion, trustee Calendro seconded. Are we on item C, John?
Yes,
I'm
insurance.
going to make a motion to remove item C from the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Reason for the motion is in reviewing this item over the weekend, I noticed that the Finance Committee meeting of November 6th, 2017, on which I sat, not as chair, but I sat on that committee, staff had told, strike that, former chairperson, trustee Ruzick, had made the comment at that meeting that next year we'll be going out to the marketplace. Director Mampy, who couldn't be here tonight, she then indicated, yes, best practices, we'll do that in early spring. I then went and checked the board minutes from November 20th, and again, staff's recommendation in the consent agenda item that was pulled from consent agenda for a separate vote was that there would be an RFP going out on this item. I went back and confirmed both of those on the audio recordings of those meetings, and I think it was just an oversight that it got put on the agenda for tonight for renewal when we had previously approved the process of going to an RFP. So that's why I'm asking to be stricken tonight. Any other questions or comments?
Good idea.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Parks and Rec, approval of minutes.
Looking for a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee of February 5th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Centennial Park Aquatic Center slide renovations.
Go ahead, Gary.
Sure, we went out for RFP on the date I just showed you, actually corrected, January 30th.
Okay.
This year, we had 4 companies submit RFPs for the renovation of the interior and exterior of the slides and the play structure at the Aquatic Center. Staff determined that we wanted to utilize IPS water slides, who we currently have work experience with. They did some maintenance on these slides for us last year and maintained them as we knew they were in need of a major overhaul. Part of the reason that they were chosen, they are in state, so the response if something does happen, it's a lot easier to access them, to get them back. We do have a history with them. They have been on time and very responsive to our needs. And they ended up being the most affordable. The lowest price company, Slide Pros, did not follow the RFP and spec'd a different product. The product that they spec'd is actually renamed from the stuff we have in the slides now, which is in failure. It does not have a very good reputation as a product. Where it was 1 to 5 mils, we were requesting 20-plus mils thickness on the interior of the slide, so we did not choose that low bid. It wasn't a bid, low proposal. So we're recommending to go with IPS water slides out of Sandwich.
Is there any questions from the audience? Any questions from the committee? Trustee Gura?
Gary,
Yes, ma'am.
before we had it painted the last time,
Yes, ma'am.
what was on the surface?
Excuse me?
What was on the surface? Was there
The
a different
exterior of the
material?
slide was paint, but the interior was gel coating.
Okay, so that's what it needs to have.
That's what it needs to have on the interior of the slide, correct.
And they didn't put that on?
No, they
with the
painted.
last one. And
Paint will
have,
never hold up on the interior of a slide, especially with running water.
sure, it makes
constantly
sense.
going over. That's how we were introduced to IPS last year. We hired them to actually monitor the slides on a weekly basis, where the paint was chipping from the interior and sand as needed any spot, so we wouldn't have any incidents.
And the company that did the work the last time, are they still in existence?
I don't believe that facet of Madison, oops, sorry, I don't believe the facet of that construction company exists anymore. I don't think they do that anymore.
Makes sense. Talk about relying on somebody for some advice. Okay,
Any other
that's
questions?
all, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, any other questions?
No.
All in favor?
You
Oh,
need a motion.
Was there a motion? I'm sorry.
No.
Motion, looking for a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Gura?
I move to recommend to the village board to award IPS Water Slides Incorporated of Sandwich, Illinois, RFP number 18-004, Centennial Park Water Slide renovations in an amount not to exceed $195,850.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Centennial Park Aquatic Center link seal replacement repair bid award.
Sorry,
This year, we issued a bid to have the link seals at Centennial Park Aquatic Center repaired and some of them replaced. We don't have the option to replace all of them, as some of, if you're familiar with a link seal, it's the opening where a pipe goes through a wall underground. Some areas where we go from building to building, we can actually replace the link seal, which is basically a large rubber gasket that you can tighten on both sides to expand and prevent water from flowing in between the two buildings. The buildings that we can't replace them, it's basically like a grout cement that will go around on the inside to seal it. They are roughly 25 years old and they're in failure. We issued a bid. Lowest responsive bidder was, I'm sorry, I'm looking at another paper too. Crossroad Construction of Addison. We have done business with them in the past, so we're recommending to award the bid to them.
thank you. Any questions from the audience? From the committee? Looking for a motion then?
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll?
I move to recommend the village board to award bid number 18-007, Centennial Park Aquatic Center link seal replacement and repair in amount not to exceed $35,201 to Crossroad Construction, Inc. of Edison, Illinois.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Delivery of rental equipment.
Before Gary kicks it off, as probably all the trustees remember, this park benches has been discussed for the last 4 or 5 budget cycles. So one of my first things as chairperson was, let's finally have the discussion and move on with it. I think Trustee Dodge, of all people, will be appreciative that we're having this conversation. So I asked staff to put this together, and I did not feel like I was the appropriate person to make the decision. I think it's a board decision, so that's why we're here today. So I'll let Gary kick it off.
Mr. Chair, we currently deliver various rental items to residents throughout the town at their request. Currently, we deliver picnic tables at a charge of $8. Our actual cost is almost quadruple that. This has been going on for years. As you said, we've tried to talk this out for the last several years. Some of the other items we deliver are barricades at a cost of $3 and super cookers at a cost of $50. The amount of staff time on picnic tables alone, the delivery, takes typically a crew of 4, sometimes a crew of 8, all day at Friday and all day on Monday to deliver and pick up from various residences throughout the entire town. Our cost on those is just under $30 to deliver and pick up a picnic table. We currently deliver super cookers, which we charge the residents $50 for the delivery, pickup of the unit, and we clean it in between usage, obviously, because you don't want to give them a dirty grill. Our staff time and the time involved in cleaning all that comes out to just under $100, so we're losing almost 100% in staff time trying to get those done. Barricades at $3, the cost is roughly $37 to deliver and pick up one barricade. So throughout our discussions, we brought this to your attention. You wanted me to draft an item so we could discuss it, and I have two recommendations to you. How you guys want to move forward is up to you, but our efficiency would be greatly improved by either increasing the rate or discontinuing the service.
Are you talking about all three or just continuing?
I would say that our efficiencies would increase greatly if we discontinue the delivery of the picnic tables. We would be covering our costs if we increase the price of the picnic tables and did option 1.
And Gary, remind me, I have it in an email somewhere, just so the committee and everyone knows. It seems like the usage of the picnic tables all over the boards. It's not like just Sandburg or just Township. It's a lot of residents. It's kind of a...
It is, and it's all over. It's not one group that's renting 10 picnic tables at a time, where on a Friday I could have 80 tables going out. I could literally have 1 going to this house, 2 going to this house, 4 going to this house. So, yes. So it's very, very time consuming. It takes away a lot of staff time from trying to work on our properties.
So I'll just open up for any discussion from the committee, what their thoughts are. I just know that we can't continue what we're doing. It's just, what do we do? Do we Band-Aid it? Do we split the baby? Do we... I think at least super cookers, that you can't get that at Menards.
Yes,
Well, I'm wondering,
Go
who
ahead.
typically rents our super cookers?
it's all over the board. You'll have people that'll rent a pavilion and rent a super cooker with it. Some other agencies, such as schools, use them. Homeowners rent them. To give you a little bit of insight as well, I did a little bit of an electronic survey to try and find out who else in the area may perform these services. I checked into 12 different companies, 2 of which were in the city out of the 12. 1 did rent picnic tables at $52 a table, not including delivery or pickup. And the other charged $45, and they didn't answer their phone the 4 times I tried calling them to try and find out if that included delivery or pickup. But so it's an extremely costly thing to do. I mean, they're very heavy and they're very bulky to move around.
And people would rent 1
Yes, ma'am.
or 2?
1.
I mean, I understand for neighborhood block parties, HOAs, that type of thing. But individually, 1 or 2, go buy a table. Have one in your yard. It's nice.
And one of the reasons why we were looking at continuing to rent the super cookers and the barricades specifically for the block parties, and make sure just for the safety of the neighborhood. And the super cookers, as Chairman Calandrello had stated, those are not items that you could just go to Menards or Home Depot and rent. We felt that you can rent tables fairly easily from any rental company or purchase
borrow from
folding
your
tables
neighbors.
fairly cheaply as well. But the barricades and the super cookers were a little bit more challenging to gain access to. So we thought by continuing that service would at least be beneficial to our residents.
What do we charge for barricades?
$3.
Barricades to me, maybe, are we saying $50 for a barricade?
It would be as many as they needed.
Oh, okay.
It's
For
I
delivery.
was gonna say, well,
for delivery.
Per
Typically, someone
delivery.
doesn't rent 1 barricade. If they're having a block party, they're renting
Right.
several.
Right.
And they need them, they're blocking off a street anyway.
They eat them?
No, need them.
No, need them. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's why.
Not good fiber in the world.
They don't need them.
something.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I just wonder, I'm not so inclined to charge for a barricade as I am to increase the price of the super cooker. Because like you say, barricade's a a safety issue, but we need to have some kind of deposit or something. But, yeah, I would say, my suggestion, maybe get out of the business at tables. That's,
Trustee Guerra, the reason why we picked the
unless it's a
$50
group.
for the barricade is that would cover the cost of delivery, because you
Sure.
you only need one staff person to deliver those
Yeah,
barricades.
no, I get that.
And also the piggyback conversation is we can't just use part-time seasonal help. It's kind of everyone. So we can't try to do it on the cheap with this part-time staff based on timing of requests too. So it's an expensive thing to provide.
Requests typically do start towards the end of March, beginning of April. I don't have seasonal staff till mid-May, and a lot of times the deliveries will go on till late October, early November, when seasonal staff leaves in August.
Mr. Chairman?
Trustee Carroll.
My thought on the barricades is that I think by continuing to rent them, if someone wants a permit for a block party or an event, we could make it a requirement of the permit that they use the barricades. What I don't want to see happening is lay people trying to barricade a roadway using lawn chairs or yellow tape. The physical barrier is, I think, a necessity for safety. So I'd prefer to keep that there. I like your idea of the $50 delivery charge to cover the cost. If anything that this last budget cycle has shown us is that we're in a cycle where we're trying to make sure that we aren't losing money on events or on any of our services as best we can, where we're not recouping it elsewhere. My thoughts on picnic tables are, I get it. When I hear you say that there's one table going to one house and two going to another and three going to a third, and a block party or a family party is typically for one day, that's way too cumbersome. Flip side of that is when I look at larger events like St. Mike's Summerfest or Orland Days, or where they're going to be renting them for 3, 4, 5 days, it's a lot easier to recoup the costs of that delivery when it's being spread over a number of days. So maybe we'd consider leaving it at $8 a table, but saying it's a minimum of 3 days rental, and you're being charged per day. So now we're getting close. We're at $24, which is a lot closer to your actual cost, and you're spreading out the pickup and delivery over a longer period of time.
One of the things, Trustee Carroll, with that is that most of the time they are over 3 days because they're delivering them on a Friday and they're picking them up on a Monday. Now, one of the things that we could do, I mean, as a thought, some of these bigger organizations like St. Mike's and Sandburg, or some of these other, they do have trucks that can, they have maintenance people and trucks that could actually maybe pick up those tables and bring them to the organization. We're also talked about, can we allow residents to pick up the picnic tables, bring them if they're able to rent a truck or what have you. The problem then became, keeping track of everything and inventory. We're going to get them back.
Damage, because you're going to have
damage,
people transporting them. We have staff that know how to do it.
Exactly.
And the equipment to do it.
Could we also consider a minimum number? So it'll get away with that, some of the nonsense where it's one table or two tables. That, if you're charging $5 for a table, somebody's saying, hey, instead of cleaning my table, I'll just have you bring one.
Right.
That's crazy. But if you put a minimum number to it and raise the price, then maybe it might be worthwhile. And the super cooker as well, like you said,
Yeah,
that
the
has to be increased.
And the super cooker, I didn't provide an option for somebody to pick up because I wasn't comfortable with them hooking a trailer with a village plate on the back of it to their vehicle.
No, I
Yeah, it's
agree
built
with
into a
that.
trailer, right? Yeah.
It's
got a chassis.
It's built on the trailer,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And the tables, when you rent the tables, you collect them from other parks to bring into, how do you do this?
Well, for the last several decades, they've been stored at Schuessler Park.
So they go out from Schuessler?
So everything is staged and they go to Schuessler Park. They have just been moved from Schuessler Park. I have them in an overflow lot right now because a contractor is doing work there. The goal for the storage of the picnic tables is once the fence is around the new bulk materials transfer site on 108th Avenue. I've spoke with Director Ingram. We're going to have a base put in over there. We're going to store them there so they're not in a neighborhood and they're in a secure location.
So it's a surplus of what we already have at our parks?
Correct. Those are used basically for rentals for our larger functions, things along those lines. Those aren't in the park. Had those been stored in a park on a regular basis, it would take me that much more time to go to each individual park to pull those benches. And in the interim, I might get complaints that, well, we had 4 benches here, now I can't sit here with my cousins who came into town or whatever,
And again, when we're looking at this, we're looking at an efficiency standpoint because of the number of people that deliver the picnic tables. However, our recommendation would be that if we did go to at least cover the cost of delivering the picnic table, and that's why we brought up with $30.
Trustee Calendar.
Sure.
One other point I think is well taken, that if your staff is out delivering tables all day on a Friday and then picking up, how many members of your staff might be involved in this pursuit?
Typically anywhere from 4 to 8.
All right.
All
So
day
if
Friday.
they're working that aspect most of the summer, sometimes into the fall and from the spring, what isn't getting done?
Correct. It's harder to keep up with our normal core functions. You
Right.
know, maintaining the interior playgrounds, our park sites, our building locations, our metro stations, things along those lines.
Yeah, I think maybe we identified larger groups that use them, you know, like you say, Orland Days, St. Michael's for Summerfest, other groups, churches, homeowners associations that have significant parties.
Trustee Guerra, that actually, I was just going to say that maybe some of these more not-for-profit organizations or for a larger block party where it's not happening on a weekly basis. Orland Days, for example, happens once a year. St. Mike's Festival happens once a year. That's not an issue. Those types of things that are happening once a year or twice a year. That's not big of a. That's easy.
And it's open to the whole community. Both those events are open to the whole community. It's not just
Right.
And it
affecting
benefits the whole
one
community.
cul-de-sac or,
No, and that's a perfect example, and you know this, Gary. Last year, Brook Hills Homeowners Association has a large festival for 63 homes. It's in one location, but another group on their block that was just a block long had a separate one, a different day. But then the village was providing materials to both. And the one HOA seems to me to be a better use of our resources than just for a couple of houses, where they could reasonably bring out their own tables.
Sure.
So, what, I think super cookers were cool with,
Yes.
we're good with
Sure.
keeping super cookers and barricades at the listed price of 100 for super cookers and 50 flat fee for the barricades. And tying barricades with the permit for things that need barricades.
Yeah.
So now we're,
And that covers our costs?
On those two items, yes.
yeah.
so now we're on to the picnic benches. What are some ideas? It seems like we got this big group idea out there, it's like somehow we tie that into and kind of slow down or stop the small ones, so I
Like
like.
minimum number of tables.
Right, my concern is when the director tells us that there aren't that many places that are renting them, and do we want to price, or do we want to remove ourselves from that game for the organizations that have relied on us for decades? I don't know. St. Mike's been relying on us for 4 decades that I know of.
Well, that's why I say a minimum number.
Right.
Because groups like that
Yeah.
would obviously meet a minimum. But neighborhood streets, individual streets
Right.
might not.
Trustee Calendar, to maybe answer, maybe we do them for those large, the Orland Days, St. Mike's. With the Orland Days, that's an easy one because the village partners with them to
Yeah.
a certain extent. So,
Right.
we're there anyway. So that's an easy one. But St. Mike's too. That again, that's a organization. Their festival reaches out the entire community. So maybe we look at if we just did those types of events. I think that would be.
I don't know that I'd want to eliminate the possibility that, though, for example, Sons of Italy, like that, might decide to have a festival and fit into that criteria. So we want to leave it open in case in the future
Just
they would fit the
Go ahead,
criteria.
Gary.
Trustee
Gary.
Carroll, just a little more information. I also did reach out to a rental company that's close to home, BI Rental on 159th Street over there in Homer Glen. While they don't rent picnic tables, they rent banquet tables and chairs. So a 6-foot banquet table with chairs is $13.50. However, they do not deliver and they do not pick up and they will not offer that service.
Okay.
So
So, Orland Days, St. Mike's Fest, how many other big drop-offs do we have? Gary, I haven't put you on the spot.
maybe a half a dozen others.
How many
Off the top
fa-
of my head, you've got fishing derby over here. We've got other,
Sandberg?
other things that we work with other groups.
So,
Chamber.
how many are in a truck? What's your truck? One drop-off. How many are you?
It's a crew cab truck so we can hold the staff and it's got a 24-foot trailer on the back.
So how many-
10 tables at a time.
Okay.
When we have an exorbitant amount, I send two trucks and 2 trailers out.
So I guess, how many events do we currently serve that order in excess of 20 tables?
Maybe what are the days? Off the top of my head, I'm going to guesstimate about 6 or 7.
All right.
That's a
good
top
point.
And Gary, those
One of
are,
them's the Taste, which is ours. Orland Days is ours.
are those tied to a special event permit that's open to the public?
Yes.
So you could tie it to something like that too, say, you know, you can still have the tables at whatever the cost is if tying it to the special event. So if there's a new special event that comes forward, like the
But when
Sons
you
of
say
Italy.
open to the public, again, the example of Brook Hills, 463 homes, but not the public.
Do they pull a permit, but? I don't know, this, I'm just
Most
using
block
that.
parties do, so.
They're supposed to.
It's on private
I was
property.
supposed to.
Well, yeah, but theirs is
Well, they're
on
supposed
private
to.
property,
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah, they're still supposed to pull one.
Do they close the roads down? Other than
They
that?
have open space that they
Yeah.
maintain, so.
If
they
it's
may
on
not
private
have-
property and it's
They
not
should,
open to
yeah.
the public and there's no closing of streets, then no, they wouldn't need to get a special event permit.
So, no, they wouldn't even need that then.
Oh,
But
well-
it's 463 homes.
Do we charge St. Mike's currently for the tables we deliver to them at their Summerfest?
I can't answer that. I make the deliveries. I don't handle the financials.
And I know that
I don't believe Orland Days is charged because we partner with them.
right,
St. Mike's is typically off the top of my head, I want to say 20, 25 tables.
And again, they're literally right down the block from us.
no, what I'm getting at is if we have a few that we currently are partnering with where we haven't been charging, maybe we just exempt them from the change and we institute the change, like Trustee Guerra said, it's gotta be a minimum number of tables at the new rate for any of those others that aren't organizations we're already working with. We're gonna have problems with that, but looking to, what I'm trying to avoid is taking an event that's running very lean, like, I don't know what St. Mike's Summerfest makes in a year, or Orland Days that's typically running very lean in recent years, and pricing them out of the game by addition to, I know they're both renting police protection or security from us. And then we add in potentially, like, let's say it's, what did we say it was, $30 a table?
30, so 20, 30 times, yeah.
Yeah, 30.
So, all right, do we have a motion regarding the tables, or do we have an idea regarding the tables?
Minimum number of,
Yeah, $30 a pop, or do we want to exempt out the ones we've been partnering with and then move forward, or what do you think?
well, if you exempt out, I mean, Orland Days, clearly that's the village partnering with the Lions Club. I have no issue with that.
How about this, how we do 20, split the baby, say, just for this year, we'll try it out for, say, 20. It's a little bit more than,
We're still losing money on it.
still losing some money, but at least we're halfway there, or more than halfway there. But if you do a minimum
we gotta
table,
have a minimum
if you do the minimum table, it gets cheaper as you go, correct, Gary? More tables delivered for every 10, so. if
I
you-
didn't hear that part.
So if you give 10, it's cheaper to deliver 10 to one location than 2.
Why?
Time-wise,
Time-wise.
you still have to
If you're charging per table.
drive out.
You still
Right.
got the
tables,
truck,
drive
the
there.
staff, the everything, you're not, there's no real.
So if
savings.
if I could just throw, just one suggestion, just for sake of conversation here, that maybe to those organizations that benefit the community, that are tied to a special event, because usually they're local, they're usually, one of our parks are very nearby. We can not worry about charging them for those tables, because usually it's for a week long or for 4 or 5 days or what have you. And if we don't go out to the residential or the private parties and stuff like that, then we're still being efficient, but still providing a service for the overall community.
I don't get, repeat that?
So we would just provide tables to those organizations that pull a special event permit. Like,
So for
that
example,
would be
my
open to the
example,
public.
Brook Hills Homeowners Association, 463 homes wouldn't qualify.
Unless they wanted to pay for them.
But you would give them free of charge? Is that
No.
what you're saying? To who?
The organizations like St. Mike's or the Lions Club or the Chamber, that's something that's pulling in a special event permit that's open to the public, that the whole community is going to benefit from. We can, because those only happen maybe once a year, and there's not that many of them,
Yeah,
as opposed to,
I'd just be worried that then the definition of the definition. So I would prefer just minimum. Would say 20, I'm just tossing numbers out, so I'll let you guys. I'm 20 tables, minimum $20 a piece. So we're clawing back. We're close. We're not there yet, but we're close. Let's see what happens. Maybe maybe we'll decrease or increase the numbers, and then we could look at it. But at least we're getting some back. I don't know. I just
How
got
many in a truck?
10.
How about minimum of 10, if that's one full truck?
10 and 20? 10 for 20?
20 apiece. That way we're not sending out partial trucks anyplace?
And then are we charging all the organizations, everyone?
So if a block party wanted to have 10, we would charge them. We would charge them.
But what about St. Mike's and
Yeah.
Sandburg and those other organizations?
Yeah.
Since we're not going all the way, I think we'll see how it goes, and
We're
if we have to
splitting the
adjust it.
difference.
I don't know. What do you think, Mike? Trustee Carroll?
Yeah, I think if we're gonna raise it to a minimum number of tables, and if whether, let's say if it's 10, yeah, anything that's not run by the village or partnered with the village, then it's any outside organization that wants to rent tables from us, that's the cost of doing business.
All right.
I personally would prefer to recoup our cost and make it 27, but if I'm okay with 20.
You know what, I'm with you on that too.
We could get a 27. I thought
Yeah.
people had issues with the price, so
If that's our cost, that's our cost.
27 is our cost.
Yeah.
10, and how about, do you guys want to do like you have to have 10, 20? You have to do the numbers are 10 because that's full trucks. So you do 10, 20, so you don't have this random half drop-offs.
Well, it's not even the half drop
Or
off,
the-
it's the one or two that's just seems,
You're gonna preclude a lot of people from doing it if they only want one or two tables, they're not gonna call us. If
Right,
they're
and that's what we
requiring
want,
them
I
to rent 20 of them, right? Or 10 of them, or
So do we want to do just 10 or more?
minimum of 10.
Okay.
At $27 a table. Yes?
At 27, you said?
Yeah, that's our cost.
With the minimum of 10.
and if you have a list of the organizations that rented them last year, maybe we could send out a notice, these are our new policies, so they don't depend on us.
We would definitely do that, but I just want to make sure I got it straight for our brochure then. $100 for the super cooker, right? $50 for barricades.
Flat.
So regardless if you get one or 5, it's $50.
Correct.
And then 10 tables on a truck, $27 per table.
Minimum order of 10.
Minimum of 10.
Yeah, minimum of 10.
So technically, we're going to have the order of 11 and we could have the order of 11 and have that weird drop-off.
Yeah, you're gonna cut out the ones and twos, which is what's killing them right now,
Yeah.
so.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Who wants to do this motion?
I'll do it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead, Carol. Trustee Carroll.
I move to recommend to the village board to increase the rental rates for delivered items to the following amounts. Picnic tables, $27 per table with a minimum of 10 tables ordered. Barricades, flat rate of $50, $10 each if being picked up with a required deposit, and super cookers, $100 per rental.
Second question,
Sure.
the barricades, can you explain that?
That's what it says in the motion,
Oh,
staff's
I'm looking
motion.
on here,
So we're allowing people to pick them up currently?
okay.
We currently do not,
That's a discussion point. I guess we haven't decided that one.
it's a lot cleaner if they don't.
Then let's make it as efficient as possible. I mean, at least that's my opinion. I'm one of,
Yeah, I like it clean.
Okay, Mr. Chairman?
Trustee
I
Carroll.
amend my motion to strike the parenthetical language of $10 each if being picked up, semicolon with a required deposit, and parentheses.
Second agrees.
All in favor as amended? Aye.
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 That's how sausage is made.
Yeah.
Centennial Park Aquatic Center vertical turbine pump replacement bid.
That's all yours, Pat.
Mr. Chairman, Parks and Grounds issued a invitation to bid for the replacement of the filtration pumps at the Centennial Park Aquatic Center. We requested pricing for 5 separate pumps. We currently are funded, and we will be requesting permission to have 2 of them done. I have accurate pricing now for next year to request to have the other 3 done. The 2 pumps are the filtration pumps for the zero depth pool, one of which failed last August, and we've been running on a temporary pump since we shut down the pool, These pumps will be transitioned from vertical turbines to flooded suction, which are a lot more affordable and available than the style of pump that we have in there. These will not need to be dropped down into the ground. They'll be able to be maintained from the surface of the floor, and they're about a quarter of the cost of a vertical turbine to replace. So where I would need 16 weeks and $16,000 to have a vertical turbine repaired, I could literally buy a flooded suction for $4,000 to $5,000 off the shelf and have it in within a week.
Any questions from the audience? From the committee?
Mr. Chair?
Trustee Carroll?
The vertical turbine, what's the technology you have where we have to put a scuba diver in there to clean it? Is that stuff or no?
That's because I have vertical turbines, yes.
Okay, so that'll eventually be
Eventually, we'll be
done.
phasing that out, correct, that's the goal,
Okay, perfect. OSHA will be very happy to hear that.
yes.
No more scuba diving.
Yeah, so will Craig.
All right, looking for, any other questions? Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Guerrero.
I move to recommend to the village board to award bid number 18-010 Centennial Park Aquatic Center vertical turbine pump replacement in an amount not to exceed $124,600 to Chicagoland Construction Incorporated of Addison, Illinois.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Park court repairs.
Mr. Chair, Parks and Grounds issued an invitation to bid for the repair of tennis courts at Veterans Park and at Treetop Park. There were 2 bidding companies. The low-priced bid was Tennis Court Solutions, requesting permission to have the work performed.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? From the committee?
No.
Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I move to recommend the village board to award bid Park Court Repairs 18-008 to 10S Court Solutions from Lake Forest, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $137,500 for specified repair work at Veterans and Treetop Parks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Concession services.
Okay. Finally, it's all about rec. Finally, geez Louise. So on January 30th, the village issued a request for proposal for village concession services at Centennial Park, John Humphrey Complex, and Centennial Park Aquatic Center, and some special events. We held a pre-proposal meeting that was held on February 6th for the bidders to view each village concession and facility and to get acquainted with what we have to offer. Proposals were received from RV Concessions, Robert McCarthy, formerly of Big Jim's Catering, the Bennett Curtis House, and Just a Dash Catering. RV Concessions is who staff is recommending. They currently operate in 8 Park District concession operations. RV Concessions operated the ball field operations this past ball season from spring through fall ball at the village's Centennial Park and John Humphrey Complex. In addition, RV Concessions owns and operates Rocco Vino's in Orland Park and has been a part of the Taste of Orland Park restaurant event since 2012. RV Concession proposes a 5% net commission for ball field stands and a 10% commission of the Centennial Park Aquatic Center's operations. The percentage is very good. They've been involved and engaged in the Village of Orland Park for a long time with their restaurant, and they did a great job over the summer at the ball fields. They were very clean, very amenable to anything that we had requested. We also held a meeting with RV Concessions back on February 22nd, talked through the menu items of the concessions at the pool, and again, very cooperative and engaged in the whole discussion. Based on the years of experience, the previous season performance, and commission structure, the interview team recommends awarding the village concession contract to RV Concessions for 3 years, 2018 to 2020, with an option to renew for 2 additional years.
See any questions from the audience? From the committee?
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
In light of the discussion item we have coming up both on committee and board, I'm assuming there's nothing in this concession contract that would preclude village staff from selling alcoholic beverages if that's where the board wants to go in the future on one of our events. I saw something for discussion coming up.
I don't see that being a problem.
Okay.
That hasn't come up in the past, and really all we've focused on is just the food for the concessionaire.
Okay. Just if there's any doubt about that, just ask that we have,
Sure.
we'd have our council look at it just to make sure there's nothing in that agreement that would lead, because I know they're a liquor license holder at their other business. I don't want them coming to us saying they have exclusive concessions if that's where the board decides to go with this.
Point. Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Carroll.
I just want to note that it's so nice to have a local business from the village there. They can flex their staff if they need to. There's so many advantages. Plus, they're already tried and true. They've been there for a whole season. Ball fields, the pool will be it'll be actually more attractive to them too, I'm sure. So I think it's a great choice.
Looking for any further comments? Looking for a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Trustee Garrett.
I move to recommend to the village board to approve awarding the concession services to RV Concessions for a 3-year contract, 2018 through 2020, with an option to renew for 2 additional years at the village's sole discretion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Centennial Park West concert discussion.
Wait, we skipped the
We gotta go.
treadmills.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sportsplex Woodway treadmill model.
When's the last time you been on a treadmill, John?
Yeah. Okay.
Just joking. Ouch.
I'm
Sorry.
more lip
Really?
myself, but,
Really?
oh, yeah.
Ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so as you know, back in 2015, we identified the Sportsplex through the market segmentation as a high-quality, mid-tier fitness facility providing a range of equipment options, and that satisfied the diverse needs of our members. In 2016, staff replaced 2 of our 4 original Woodways that were purchased back 17 years ago when the Sportsplex first opened. The equipment recommendation today is being considered tonight is aligned with the goal of maintaining the position of Sportsplex in its market segmentation. Woodway treadmills are unique because they utilize an internationally patented slat bell system that was designed by specialists from the Institute of Cardiovascular and Sports Medicine in Cologne, Germany. Due to the patents held by Woodway USA, no other company can offer comparable running surface or a system on their treadmills. Woodway USA Inc. is the only manufacturer and distributor of the Woodway treadmill. These treadmills have a life expectancy of 150,000 running miles, and again, after 17 years, we're just replacing them now, so they've definitely served their purpose out there. Staff is requesting to purchase 2 Woodway Model 4 treadmills at a cost of $10,650 each. Staff will trade in the 2 old units and receive a discount of 10% off the purchase price. The proposed purchase would include all the equipment, discount trade-in, and shipping and installation for a total cost of $19,999.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? From the committee?
Mr. Chair.
Trustee Carroll.
Director Flores, is this something that we would be looking at maybe doing at OPHFC eventually, or does our agreement with Power Wellness preclude us from deciding what equipment gets purchased there for replacement?
Well, OPHFC we just approved the selectorized equipment, so they're starting kind of where Sportsplex started about 4 or 5 years ago when we started replacing our equipment. So down the line, that may be something they're looking at, but for right now, their biggest urgency is their selectorized equipment, because once it breaks, they can't fix it anymore. It's pulled off the floor indefinitely. But in the future, possibly.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Carroll.
When you replaced the first 2 Woodways, was there a good response from those who were attached to them?
Oh, absolutely. I
know they waited.
Some of the members have been on us for quite a long time with these Woodways because runners have their choice of equipment that they like to use. So they were very excited.
And isn't it gentler on the joints
It's
and
better on
stuff
your
because of
knees
the
and joints.
give and the way the wood is?
Yep.
I'm happy to do this.
Any other questions? Looking for a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Carroll.
Move to recommend to the village board to approve waiving the bid process for the purchase of 2 Woodway treadmills from the manufacturer. And I move to recommend to the village board to approve the purchase of 2 Woodway treadmills from the manufacturer Woodway USA Inc. as outlined in the amount of $19,999.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Centennial Park West concert.
Nancy, before we get into this, we have about 9 minutes before for the board meeting. It's going to be on the board agenda. Do you want to have some discussion now, or just wait for the full board? I'll leave it up to the panel if they want to have some now, or...
Can I ask, I don't know if it was you, Mr. Chairman, how did this get put on both agenda for the same night?
So after talking with staff, the next month there's going to be possible conversations with New Lenox and locking in the stage that will probably have to be done within this month. Okay. So they need a clear direction to either move on or do it or not do it.
With your knowledge?
Pardon me?
It was with your knowledge?
It was with my knowledge,
and
it was my request.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys want to have a brief discussion or just save it off on board.
I think we're going to have an open discussion at the board anyway.
Does the director or chair have a preference?
I can wait to the board, so I would start on time this way. I know we have a lot of people out there, so.
I'm a go along to get along kind of guy, so what do
All
you want,
right.
Mr. Chair?
So I guess we'll just forward it, make a motion to forward to the board. It's for discussion only.
Chairman, I move that we postpone discussion on the Centennial Park West Concert 2018 series to the board meeting as currently scheduled on the agenda tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned?
Second.
Aye.
All in favor? All right. So just so people, if some people in the audience, what happened was we had all the committees. We have 3 committees each night. So, and we'll have a full board at 7 o'clock. So, see you there.
Yeah. Go get popcorn.